Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss the next topic in Unit 5, uh, control structures in PLSQL. Okay, let's start. Before going to discuss the control structures, uh, I forgot to tell the examples for percentage type and percentage row type variable in previous video. Just follow these examples. These are very useful while using the percentage type and percentage row type variables in your programs. Okay. First example for percentage type variable. The percentage type variable, what is the purpose of percentage type variable? The percentage type variable creates a program variable with database tables columns specification. Okay, here I created only three variables, PNO, PNAME, PSAL. This is program variables. Okay. For the database columns, for the table EMP columns, employee number, ename and sal. Okay. Just in begin section, I have to write a select statement. Select ename comma sal into program variables. To get the database tables column values into the program variables, we used into clause with the select statement. Okay, that's why I used to write like this. Select ename comma sal into pname comma psal from EMP, where EMP number equal to ampersand PNO. Okay, so that means runtime. It asks the prompt like that. Enter a value for P number, that is version number. Okay, so whatever number you entered, that employee's details are to be retrieved in the program variables PNAME and SAL, and this statement displays those values. Okay, the employee details are PNAME and PSAL. So what is the output statement here? The DBMS underscore output dot put underscore line. Okay. Okay. You can directly execute in the SQL prompt itself. Otherwise, you can type this program in the notepad and store store in your directory with .sql. Okay. Already I clearly explained how to execute these programs in the SQL environment. Okay. Likewise, you can execute these programs. Just see this output. When you execute this program in the SQL environment, you get like this. Okay, it prompts enter a value for P number. I entered 7555. Okay, select ename. Okay, so then 7555's employees ename and salary into PNAME and PSAL. We get the details. Okay, then those details are to be printed here. The employee details are Sairam. Salary is 3,400. Okay, PLSQL procedure successfully completed. Do you remember, girls? To get the output from the buffer to console, you have to use the option set server output on at the SQL prompt. Okay. Okay. Coming to the example for percentage row type variable. So percentage row type variable, instead of if you are using the percentage type variable, how many columns you have in employee table, those number of program variables are to be created in the program. Instead of creating all those variables in the declare section, if you use the percentage row type, okay, it indicates the entire row of the table. Okay, just see this. Here just I declared one variable P number of 10, and C, this is the row type variable of the table employee percentage row type. This is called record type variable. Okay, so this represents the entire row from the employee table. Okay, begin select star into cursor variable. It represents the cursor variable. No, it's not a cursor. It's a row type variable or record type variable. It indicates, it stores all the values in that particular record. Okay, it holds all the values, all the column values from that particular record. Okay, that's why just I used to write here the star, select star into C from EMP, where EMP number equal to ampersand PNO. Okay, so at the runtime, whatever employee number you have entered, those record details are to be fetched into record type variable. Okay. And next, dbms underscore output underscore line, the employee details are with the help of the row type. This row type holds the whole record column values. That's why in order to specify column name used record name, that means row percentage row type variable name, c dot e name, c dot sal, and c dot job. Okay. And next, end, after executing this program, you can write like, you can get the output like this. Enter the value for p number 7555. Okay. Then 7555 employees values are to be fetched into the record type or row type variable c. Okay. With the help of the c, you can display whatever values you want from that record. Just I used to print here the e name and the salary and job. Okay. This is how we are using the percentage type and percentage row type variables in programs. Okay. Follow these examples thoroughly. I forgot to tell these programs execution in previous video. Okay. Note down and follow clearly. Okay. Coming to the control structures. The next important topic is control structures. Okay. PLSQL supports programming long ways features. Okay. Programming long ways features like conditional statements, iterative statements, and sequential control. Okay. PLSQL control structures allows you to control the behavior of the block as it runs. That means you can change the logical flow of statements within the PLSQL block. Okay. What it means actually, how the program executes a statements, in which order a program executes the statements. A program executes the statement sequentially in which order we have written. Okay. But sometimes you need to execute some block of statements based on some certain conditions. Okay. Sometimes you need to perform some block of statements repeatedly for number of times. Okay. That means you need to change the flow of execution. For that purpose, the control structures are plays very important role in the programming languages. Already we have learned thoroughly those control structures in C and Java also. Okay. Likewise, in PLSQL also contains the control structures in order to include those structures in PLSQL in order to control the flow of process also. Okay. The control structures is broadly divided into three categories. One is conditional control, iterative control, and sequential control. Okay. Coming to the conditional control structure. What is conditional control? Okay. Conditional control means first of all, it tests a condition. So based on the condition, whether it is true or false, if it is written true, a certain block of statements are to be executed. Okay. Otherwise, some certain block of statements are to be executed. Okay. And the conditional control statements are also called decision making statements. Okay. And normally the decision making statements are to be performed by using the if statement, as in Java and as in other programming languages like Java or C. Okay. And C. And there are three forms of if statements are there. Simple if statement, if then, and coming to okay. And one more thing is okay. Coming to if then else, and if then else if. Okay. So in PLSQL, every if statement must followed by the then, and at end it has end if statement. Okay. So if you are using if, you have after condition you should write then statement. Okay. At the end of the if block you can write end if. Okay. So first of all, if then, this is the simplest form of the if control statement, frequently used in decision making and changing the flow of execution. the flow of execution, control flow of program execution. Okay. So what is a simple if do? Okay, first of all, simple if, what's the purpose of simple if? First of all, simply it states the condition. If the condition is true, true block statements are to be executed, otherwise it doesn't nothing. Okay, the controller simply pass to the next statement after the if block. Okay. And coming to the if then, just see if then, just see this flow chart also. If the condition is true, then it executes the block of statements. Those block contains several SQL and PLSQL statements. Okay, and also normal statements, PLSQL and SQL statements. Condition true. If condition is false, the controller simply goes after the if block. Okay. Okay. So the syntax of this statement is follows: if condition and next then sequence of statements and if. You have to write and if. For every if there must be a and if. Okay. It's compulsory. Okay. So example, to compare the value of two variables a and b and to assign the value of a to high if a is greater than b, the if construct for this is as follows. Okay. If a greater than b, then high equal to a. Next, and if. Okay, there must be a space between and if. Coming to if then else. If then else. So if then else means it's a two-way branching statement. Okay. First of all, if condition is true, then true block statements are to be executed. Then else block statements are to be executed. Okay. In simple if, there is a only one way branching, but it's a two-way branching. Okay. If the condition is false, some set of statements are to be executed. If block statements are to be executed, then otherwise else block statements are to be executed. Just see this syntax. Those syntaxes, the slight differences in the syntaxes. Okay, just those are just like the control structure syntaxes like in C and Java. Okay, slight modifications are there only. So just simply you can learn this concept very easily. So if condition, then the sequence of statements, else sequence of statements, to and if. Okay. Just see this example. If a greater than b, then high equal to a. Else automatically high value is b, then b is assigned to the high variable, high equal to b and if. Okay. And coming to the if then else if. Okay. What is the use of if then else if? If you want to take alternative decisions, number of decisions, that means if the decision is false, then you will take another decision. If that condition is false, you can take another condition. Okay. Likewise, if you want to take alternative decisions, then you can use if then else if statements. Okay. So if condition is true, it performs if block statements. Otherwise, the controller jumps to else if. Else, another condition is to be checked. If the condition is true, then next block of statements are to be executed. Otherwise, else if. Okay, like that. If you want to take alternative decisions, then you can use if then else if. Just see the syntax, you can understand. If condition, then sequence of statements, else if. Okay, and coming to else if you can write also ELSEIF. Okay, if you write ELSEIF, for that if also you can write end if separately. Okay, if you write else if as a single word, no need to mention end if separately for this. Okay, so to avoid the number of end ifs, we can use else if as a single word, ELSIF. Okay, so condition 2, then sequence of statements, else sequence of statements 3 and if. This is the syntax. Just see this example. Program to find biggest number among three numbers. Okay, here we are declaring three numbers and accept those values at runtime. Okay, so based on the values you have given at the runtime, it compares the values begin, if block, if two conditions. Here the logical AND we are using, and is used to combine two conditions or two expressions. Okay, if what is the condition first here? A greater than B and A greater than C, then DBMS underscore output line big equal to A. Okay, if A greater than B and A greater than C, then it prints big equal to A value. Else if B greater than A, and you have to check another condition, B greater than A and B greater than C. Okay, then DBMS underscore output underscore line big equals to B. Okay, else if A greater than B and A greater than B is false, A greater than C also false, and B greater than A also false, B greater than C also false, then means automatically C is the biggest value. Okay, so else DBMS underscore output dot put underscore line big equal to C. Okay, and if end. Just see this output. Okay, so enter value for A 7, enter value for B 10, enter value for 28. So what is the highest value among these three values? 28. So it prints big equal to 28. Okay. And coming to case expression. Okay, so case expression is nothing but it's a switch expression in C and Java. Okay, so it's a built-in multi-way decision making statement. Okay, case statement. So in case statement like switch statement, in Java and C we are using the switch keyword, but we are using here the case expression. Okay, the case expression selects a result and return to it. Okay, to select the result, the case expression using the selector. Okay, so that means the case expression, with this case expression we have to write several alternatives like when condition, then when condition 2, then when condition 2, then you have to write like this. Okay, depending upon the expression value, it selects any one of the the selector determines which when clause is to be executed, is depends upon the expression value. Okay, so when condition n, then like a case statement, just in C and Java we are using case 1, case 2, case 3 and default statements. Else when condition then n, else default statements we have to write else default statements. Okay, at the end of these conditions, and next will end. Just go through this example, then you can understand well. Okay, so first great character 1 equal to character 1. So ampersand grade, just I want to read grade at runtime. So whatever character you have given at runtime, so based on those case selects one of the selectors. Okay, just this value is passed here, case grade. Okay, by taking this value, it checks all these values A, B, C and F. Okay, capital A, capital B, capital C, capital F. Okay, if you enter capital A, then it prints excellent. If you enter capital B, it enters very good. Okay, so it selects one of the selector condition, selector clause. Okay, if no match is found, then it prints no such grade. Okay, just see this output. Enter value for A, grade A, then it prints excellent. Enter value for B, very good, like that. Okay. Coming to the iterative control. So what is iterative control? So iterative control means in some certain situations you need to repeatedly executed some set of statements. Okay, for that purpose we are using iterative control statements. Okay, there are mainly 3 looping statements. Iterative control statements are also called looping statements. Those are called loop, while loop and for loop. Okay, coming to the loop. Loop is simplest form of the iterative control. Okay, it encloses a set of statements between the keywords loop and end loop. Okay, so whatever statements you are enclosed in between the loop and end loop, those are executed repeatedly. Okay, so this is the simplest form of the iterative control. Just see the syntax: loop, a sequence of statements, and coming to end loop, there must be a space between end and loop. Okay. Okay. So first, with each iteration of the loop, the statements of sequence of statements get executed. Okay, and then controller reaches at the top of the loop after executing, after reaching end loop. Okay, so that means this control structure causes infinite loop. To avoid this, we can use exit or exit when in the loop and end loop statements. Okay, if you are not using any these statements, it goes into the infinite loop. Those statements are repeatedly executed for infinite number of times. Okay, but for everything, every programming, in programming language, for everything there must be end. Okay, so that's why to avoid this, just use the keywords exit and exit when. Just see this: loop exit. An exit statement within the loop forces the loop to terminate unconditionally and passes the control to the next statement. Just see this: loop. Okay, in loop, I have to write if condition, then sequence of statements, and exit. Okay, if the condition is true, then it performs the sequence of statements and terminates unconditionally and passes to the next statement. Just exit. Exit here, the exit statement exits the control from this loop. Okay, that means the control comes out of this loop. Okay, when exit encounters in the loop. Okay, else if condition 2, then sequence of statements exit. Else sequence of statements 3 exit. Okay, if any sequence of statements are to be executed based on the condition, then only it comes out of the loop. Okay, this is how we are using exit within the loop. Coming to loop exit when. Okay, so loop exit is it terminates the loop unconditionally, but it terminates the loop conditionally when you are using loop exit when. Okay, just see this syntax: loop exit when condition sequence of statements end loop. Okay, when this certain condition true, then only it exits, otherwise it cannot exit from this loop. Okay. Okay, just see this: x number equal to 10, I declare begin loop. Okay, I want to print x value and I want to add 10 for every time incremented by x is incremented by 10. If it reaches x greater than 50, it reaches greater than 50 value, then automatically it exits from the loop. Okay, so it's a loop exit. And if and loop dbms underscore put underscore line after exit exceeds. Okay, this x value, just see this: 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. After exit exceeds value is 60. Okay, and coming to while loop. So while loop for every looping condition there must be you have to return loop and end loop. You have to write. Okay, for every while is a entry control loop. Okay, so first of all it checks the condition. If the condition is true, then those statements are to be executed. Okay, at the end of the loop control variable will be incremented. Again the condition will be checked. If the condition is true, again the control again the block of statements, while block statements, are to be executed. Okay, until the while condition becomes false, those statements are to be repeated execute repeatedly. Okay, while condition loop sequence of statements and end loop, this process is repeated till the condition is true. If the condition is false, automatically it exits from the loop. Just see this. Declare a number equal to 10. Begin while a greater than 20. Okay. Loop dbms underscore put underscore line value of a. Okay. So I want to print values from 1 to 19. A less than 20. Okay. What's the a value? Okay. Yes, the first value is 10. Okay. So a value is 10, 10 less than 20, condition true. Then it enters into the while loop. Okay. What's the statements are? The value of a. What's the a value? 10. Then a value becomes incremented by 1. So that means 11. Again, the 11 condition will be checked again in the while loop. The controller passes to the while loop with the new value of a. Okay. And 11 greater than 20. Of course, it is also true. That's why this statement is again executed and prints a value of a 11. Next 12. Okay. Up to that, it prints the values like up to 19. 10 to 19. Okay. Okay. Just see this. Program to find the factorial of a given number. Okay. Do you know the factorial of given number? What is the 5 factorial? 5 into 4 into 3 into 1. Okay. Likewise, 5 into 4, 20. 20 into 3, 60. 60 into 2, 120. Okay. 120 into 1, 120. Okay. Like this. So, declare an integer. I want to accept a value at runtime. Okay. And in order to calculate, I'll take one number, f number equal to 1, initializes to 1. Okay. Begin dbms output dot put underscore line given number. So while these operations, these statements are to be executed up to while n greater than 0. If n becomes less than 0, automatically the loop, automatically it exits from the loop. Controller exit from the loop. Okay, first of all, what is the f value? 1. 1 equal to 1 into 5. If you enter the 5 value, 1 into 5. Okay, then f equal to 5. So n equal to n minus 1. 5 minus 1 means 4. Again, 4 greater than 0. Then f equal to already f value 5. 5 into 4, 20. And then becomes 3. Again, 3 greater than 0. Okay. 20 into 3, 60. 2. Again, 2 greater than 0. 60 into 2, 120. Again, n equal to 1. Okay. Condition is true. Then 120 into 1, 120. And n equal to 0. So, condition false automatically. The controller comes exit from this loop and prints this statement. Factorial of the given number is f. Just see this. Okay, if you are calculating the factorial of 4, first of all 4, 4 into 1, 4, 4 into 3, 12, 12 into 2, 24, 24 into 1, 24. Okay, this is how we are calculating the factorial of given value by using the while loops in PLSQL. And coming to the for loops. Okay. For loop, what is the difference between the for loop and while loop? Actually, purpose is same, but when you know how many number of times you have repeated the execution of statements, then go through for loop. If you don't know how many times it will be execute those number of statements to get the output, if you don't know, if you don't specify, okay, if you don't imagine, then go through the while loop. Okay, basically purpose is same. Okay. So for loop, just see this syntax. Same general structure as the loop. For, it's a counter variable like I, j, k. Okay, counter variable. In and reverse, it's an optional. Okay, in order to print the reverse order, then you can use reverse. Otherwise, no need to use. And next, lower limit. Only 2 dots. Okay, there between 2 dots between the lower limit and the higher limit. Loop, sequence of statements, and loop. Okay, just follow the syntax. Coming to the counter variable. It's a explicitly declared variable whose value automatically increases or decreases. Okay. Okay, when it decreases, if the reverse keyword used, automatically those value decreases automatically. Otherwise, that counter variable value increases automatically by 1 on each iteration of for loop. Okay, until the upper or lower bound is reached. Coming to the reverse, causes the counter to decrement with each iteration from the higher limit to lower limit. Okay, otherwise causes the counter to increment with each iteration from the lower limit to higher limit if you don't use the reverse keyword. Okay, coming to lower limit, specifies the lower bound of the range of counter value. Okay, so the starting initial value will be taken as here the lower limit, like I equal to 1, I equal to 0, like that. Upper limit means the upper bound range for counter variable, like I equal to 10. Okay, so how do you write in Java for I equal to 0, I less than 10, I plus plus, like that. Okay, but here you are using a counter variable I in, okay, lower limit 1 and 2 dots, higher limit 10, loop, sequence of statements, end loop. Just say this. Okay, this is example to print values in order and reverse order also. So declare number of 2, begin, for a in, okay, A is here the counter variable. Oh, okay, just I forgot to print a. Here a, declare a number 2, okay, begin for a in 10 2 dots 15. Okay, that means a starts from initial value 10 to 15. The loop will be repeated for 10 to 15 values. Okay, so dbms underscore put underscore line value of a, simply. If you want to print those values in reverse order, okay, so just very simple, just you put reverse keyword, no need to change the higher limit and lower limit also. Okay, just you put the reverse keyword, then it takes the values from the upper limit to lower limit. If no, in the absence of reverse keyword, it takes the values from the lower limit to higher limit. Okay, just see the syntax. So value of 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, this is actual order. When you print in reverse order, it prints like this: 15, 14, 13, 12, 11 and 10. Okay, this is how we are using the for loops in natural order and also reverse order. Coming to the sequential control statements. Okay, so sequential control statement unconditionally passes the control to specified unique label either in the forward direction or in the backward direction. Okay, it's just like a go to statement you are using in the C. Okay, for go to statement you are providing label. Okay, in Java also you can provide label for executing go to statement. Okay, so overuse of go to statement may increase the complexity, so this it's as possible avoid the use of go to statements. It's a one note. Okay, just syntax go to label, and by using label you can you can write some statements. The statements under the label are considered as these statements. Whenever the go to and this label name encounters, automatically the controller transfers to this statement. Okay, okay students. Okay, for this video also I followed the reference book Fundamentals of Relational Database Management Systems, authors Sri Sumati and Sekirajan. Okay, Okay, students, just follow thoroughly these YouTube videos and write syntaxes, note down the syntaxes and practice uh, examples by your own. Okay, then only you can understand the concepts. Okay, any questions? Thank you.